Another type of the well, tube wells. Tube wells are developed in the area low water table, sufficient power supply and soft surface of the unit. This type of the well, what are the places they are using mean low water level. The water is not available in more. In this area only they are using the tube wells. Next, sufficient power supply. In this area also they are using the tube well patterns. Tube wells in our country, what are the places they are using or following? Indian state like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So these are two type of the wells. What are the two type of the well? One is the open well, another one is the tube wells. Another sources of the irrigation, tank irrigation. Tank, what do you mean by tank irrigation? The tank is a natural or man-made hollow on surface developed by constructing small bound around the across a stream is called as tank irrigation. Around the lake or river or pond, we are making like a tank pattern, storing the water and watering to the field. That is called as tank irrigations. Sometimes it is made by the human being, sometimes it's it's a natural, so that the tank irrigation man-made or natural type of the irrigation. It is used to collect and store the water for irrigation and other purpose. This type of the water using for irrigation purpose and other purpose. Other purpose means like and they take the electric power and some other purpose. Irrigation by tank is very old system of India. It is one of the oldest system. But which is the second most type of the irrigation? Is the canal. But tank irrigation is a old system in India. It is also include irrigation from lakes and ponds. The tank irrigation is popular in peninsular India. You know that from mostly South India it is mostly they are following tank irrigation. What is the reason for that South Indian people using tank irrigation? Some of the reasons they are listed one by one I explain. The first one is that undulating relief and a hard rock make difficult to dig canals and wells. Because in the South India, then peninsular regions India, most of the regions are hard rock region. In the hard rock region, we won't take the water easily, so that it's a very hard one and not dig easily, so that this type of the irrigation is possible. That means tank irrigation is possible. That means they are storing the water in pond and lake and other water bodies. Another reason, natural depression serve as a reservoir. In South India, you know that look like a low level areas. That means natural depression. Depression means pallang. Natural depression. So that is saving a water in this area. That means reservoir. Next, sometimes absence of perennial river. In South India, you know, the mostly depend on monsoon river, so that the monsoon is not good or a failure of the monsoon. We want to save the water during the rainy time, so we make a pond, lake and etc. So tank river is irrigation is mostly suitable for in these regions. Another one, impermeable rock structure which do not permit the percolation. Already beginning point I said the hard rock is very difficult to take the proclamation, so that the tank irrigation is suitable for this one. Next one, the scattered of natural population and agriculture field. In South India, then peninsular regions, the population is very most, so that agriculture, the population is most, most of the people involving the agriculture, so they need a water for the agriculture and domestic purpose. People are using tank irrigation before the start the dry region. They are storing the water by the way of rainfall and any other way, storing the water in the pond and stream and lake etc. Then using for the agriculture field and etc. So the following tables show the 5 leading state tank irrigation. What are the Indian states using the tank irrigation? How many acres they are using the tank irrigation? First one, Tamil Nadu. 3.78 areas using the tank irrigation. Another one Andhra Pradesh 3.4 acres, and third one Madhya Pradesh 2.64 areas using the water. Then fourth one Telangana 2.30, and fifth one Karnataka 1.54. So when you see in the table which is the leading states are using the tank irrigation, you know very well. So students, listen now. And one more topic we are going to see related to the topic. So this is already we have done so far. What are the irrigation we are doing? Canal, well, and a tank. These are olden method. But in modern days, what are the types of the irrigation we are following? There are many ways we are using modern irrigation we are following in our countries. Like drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, polyhouse irrigation, central pivot irrigation. These are modern irrigation method. These are modern irrigation method. But before we have done, that is the olden method. That means canal, well, tank. These are modern. Now one by one explain the modern irrigation very simple manner. First one, drip irrigation. This is the water is used for like a drop by drop near to the root plants. It's a saving water during the rainy, hot region time, region area or summer region. This method is very suitable for agriculture, because the water is directly pouring to the plants, or drop by drop using the water to the plants, tree, etc. So this is suitable for big trees, horticulture plants, and other important plants. So this is a drip irrigation. Drip means drop by drop we are using the water to the plants without wasting the water. Another topic, rain can. Rain can used to spread the water like rain. A name is for serve crab. We used to grow up to 4 feet height also, but you have adjust the sprinkler height per size. That means sprinkler pattern. When you go to the garden or any important field, you know that they are using the sprinkler type of the water pattern. Why? This is rotate the water in the middle of the field and water sprinkle on the every crops. This type of usage is called as the rain can. So what are the crops are usable or possible for the rain can method? Means sugar cane, maize, etc. The next one, another center pivot irrigation. Sometimes it is called as central pivot irrigation. It is also called as water wheel. To this point, this is very, very important. Sometimes they will ask the and central pivot irrigation also called as, what is that? Water wheel or circle irrigation, because it look like a circle shape. Water are planting to water plant, when water is plant to the circular pattern, so that it is called as a water wheel or circular irrigation. This type of the method irrigation, which equipment rotate around the pivot and crops or water the sprinkler, like a sprinkler method. So this is a new method of the irrigation method we are following on modern days. What are the drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, center pivot irrigation. Center pivot irrigation also called a water wheel or a circle irrigation. Students, what are the topic we have done so far? First one, what do you mean by irrigation? What do you mean by irrigation? Now remember, irrigation means watering of the agricultural plant through the artificial means is called as irrigation. Then types of the irrigation. Types of mean the sources of the irrigation. The three sources of irrigation: canal irrigation, well irrigation, and tank irrigation. The last one is that modern method of the irrigation. Modern method of the irrigation. What are the method we are using? Modern method, drip irrigation, pivot irrigation, and sprinkler irrigation. These are modern. So what are the states are leading water tank irrigation or irrigation statistical? That name of the state and area, how many percent they are using the water. Uttar Pradesh 26.6, Madhya Pradesh 14.6, Rajasthan 13.1, Gujarat 78.1, etc. So student, from the topic, what are the questions they will ask? What are the interior questions we expect? Types of the canals irrigation or tank irrigation, what are the purpose we are using the tank irrigation in peninsular India. So in this question we will expect. And one more thing, you know very well, text question you want to prepare, line by line you prepare me, no problem.